Hello and welcome to the video. I'm going to be explaining and going through an idea I've had for a very long time, which is off-grid water. And I want to basically collect rainwater off my roof and filter, clean it and run it through the house so I don't have to rely on a water company or external water supplies. Now this will be quite a long video, be quite a detailed video, and I haven't actually built it yet, so it's all in my mind, but I've put it on paper and it will manifest into reality in the coming couple of weeks probably. I've got some bits and bobs but not a lot, but I can run you through my thoughts. And I just wanted to document it because it's quite useful to have something like this, and I've only really found one video that's been really useful that's pretty much exactly what I want to do. So either grab a cup of tea, watch the whole lot, or flick to the different bits that interest you or are useful to you, because I'm going to segment the video. So first of all, I'm going to explain why I want my own water supply. Now, there's 3 or 4 reasons. The first reason is for health. As you can probably see, I've got psoriasis on my legs, and this flares up especially when I have a shower and especially when I have a bath. So it's connected to the water, because whenever I go anywhere else, especially abroad, it clears up very quickly even when I'm not in the sun. I am on medication, so it keeps it at bay, but that's not the best option, is it really? And the water is one of the main things that affects it. Got a plane going over, but hey ho. So that's one reason. And I don't use much soap either, and our body, the skin, is the biggest organ in the body, and I don't particularly want to be absorbing all the stuff in the water as well, which is my second point. The water company that runs the water where I live, as well as the flight path, is Southern Water, and they are not monopoly. Most water companies in England, I'd guess quite a lot of other places, are also monopolies, which can be controlled. They can be in a good way or in a bad way, it depends, or in just ignorant way. And a lot of stuff is put into English water, but that's a good thing, because if they didn't have stuff in it, it would go pretty nasty quite quickly. Because our nearest plant, it comes from Itchen, which is a river miles away. Nearest plant, I'm not exactly sure where that is, but it's quite some distance away, and it has to travel through miles and miles of pipes. Some of these pipes are quite old pipes, and potentially lead. I'm not sure about that, but ideally you'd hope they're plastic, but they've still got bits in the pipes, and it picks up stuff. And I have to say, the water looks clean, looks clear, but there's still a lot of suspended solids, and the water's also quite hard, which means there's a calcium content in it, which is not a problem. Calcium's quite good for you, but when you're in the shower it's nice to lather up some soap. So I'm not happy with the water company, because they don't tell you what's exactly in the water. They give you a huge list of confusing things that they might put in the water, but they don't tell you how much on average they put in. Some of these things, and I'm no expert, but some of these things include chlorine, and chlorine is something that you clean your toilet with. It comes with a big poison thing on the bottle, and a lot of visitors that come to my house, it's particularly bad. They've gone, oh, it smells and tastes of chemicals. If they can smell it, I flipping can, and that's what I'm putting in my body, and I don't want to do that, especially with chlorine. So I want to reduce or eliminate chlorine from my body, from my diet, because obviously we still drink tea, coffee, and wash things in this water and brush teeth. So that's the main one. Fluoride. Now that's an interesting one, because fluoride is in England one of the only places where they add it indiscriminately to the tap water. I don't know how much, and again I'm not an expert on this, but it's very flimsy, the reasons they've done it. It's to stop cavities. You know, fluoride's in all our toothpastes, well, not my toothpaste, but other people's toothpaste, including the kids actually, and mouthwash. And the actual evidence of it doing any good to teeth is quite loose, let's put it that way. So blankly putting it in everyone's water is, in my opinion, very questionable. I'm not sure on intention there. And that also, fluoride, if you get a bottle of fluoride, it will come with a huge skull and crossbones on it, because it's a poison. And I don't know what the levels are in tap water, and I've been drinking tap water my whole life. I've not died yet, so it can't be that bad, but I'd rather not have it, you know. You can call me what you want, a conspiracy theorist or someone that's just concerned, but I'd rather not put it in my body. What I think they should do is stop Tesco selling aisle upon aisle of chocolate, cereals, frozen packaged foods, alcohol. I've got a weakness for alcohol actually, but all the crap, the bakery stuff, all the carbohydrates, that's what they should do. And I think you'd find the UK's health would shoot up, especially obesity, anyway, and diabetes and things like that. So that's that. And there's lots of other things in the water, and I've not really gone in depth in it because I don't go like rabbit holes. I generally just neutrally try and observe stuff, and then make a logical decision based on my own internal compass. But there's heavy metals without doubt in the water, such as lead, as I've explained, and potential things like aluminium and other things like that. So I'm not very happy with the water I'm drinking out of the tap because it tastes and smells of chemicals, and it also sits for a long time. And I think water, which I'll go into in a minute, should be moving. It wants to move. That's what it's been doing. It always finds gravity. It gets from the river, well, the sky, into the sea, you know, condensation and all that, so evaporation. That's how it works. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be sat in a tank. I mean, you all know what happens when you leave water for any amount of time. It goes off, doesn't it? So, yes, right. So, what other reasons? Money. I'm spending, I don't know, I've not actually worked it out, but at least £1,000 a year on the water. So what I'd like to do is actually have a water supply that's for free. It drops from the sky. Why not? What's so amazingly controversial about that? Do you know what I mean? I mean, free water supply from wells, the rain, has been supplying water for humans for millions of years. It's only in recent times that we've had water supplied to our houses, which, when you look at it, it's brilliant, really. You know, all you do is turn on the tap, bang, you've got pressurised water. You don't have to go down, like in Africa or somewhere like that, you'd have to walk flipping miles to the nearest well and walk with something on your head for another few miles, you know. So in some respects we're very lucky, but I'm not happy with the quality of the water and I want to change that. So another reason, one of the main reasons also, is for liberty, because all the time I'm paying a potentially, well, monopolised company that's potentially influenced by control and potentially governments, I would rather have my own supply of water. And we found that out actually last year, and the streets lost, well, all the area lost its water supply. Basically, they blamed it on a storm which never actually came. So funny. And all my neighbours were just like, they loved the drama, you know, and they're just running around, going to tankers to get water. And I've been drinking out my water butt. It's like a blue water butt. It's beautiful for years. I've just been literally getting a Brita water filter straight in there, job done. And I mentioned it on we got a WhatsApp group, and no one commented. I say, why don't you just drink water from your water butt? It's fine, you know. And there are other things there, actually, I'll go into that. So yeah, rather than having the water cut off, I mean, I think it's only 2 or 3 days without water, and you're basically screwed. You know, your body's going to shut down, and you're near enough dying. So isn't it nice to have several thousand litres of water in my garden? Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. So what we'll do is go through ways to start with to harvest the water. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it, not necessarily how you're going to do it, but obviously you need rooftops and things. I'm going to run through 3 different options that I've got. I'm going to start with option 1, then go on to 2 and 3 if necessary. Then I'm going to show you how to pre-filter, how I'm thinking about pre-filtering the water before it goes into my collection vessel. Then I'm going to explain the collection vessel, the piping and everything that I'm going to plan. I haven't done this yet. And then how it's all cleaned and filtered and made fresh. I'm also going to spend a bit of time looking into more alternative, let's say, ways of purifying and energising water. Not quite done much with that at the moment, but I'm going to show you in a bit, so hold tight. Okay, we're going to start here. I'm on quite a rickety ladder here, so if you see me disappear, I will. I think I've got rid of that horrible little spot that was on the camera lens. I didn't see that before, but the introduction is pretty good, so I'm not refilming it. Okay, so I just told you about 3 options. This is option 1. You see I've got a roof here, and a nice big roof there. So that's option 1, which is what I'm using at the moment, and that supplies a lot of water. But also it's very easy to clean and maintain because it's not too high up, and you know, I'm on a small ladder here basically. An add-on to option, don't fall off, option 1A or whatever, is that there's a huge great big structure there, and actually the water comes off that and drips on the floor, so I might put a gutter system around it which would take a lot of water. It would probably be about the same as this. So, and I think that's actually all right on its own. There's a dog, Harry, good boy. So we're going to start with that. Option B is, as you can see above, a flat roof, just there. And that actually is my roof. That's my garage roof and conservatory, and potentially next door's roof. So all it will need is basically changing the gutter the other way round, so it goes that way, and joining it into next door's gutter. They've already said they don't mind, and that's a hell of a lot of water. The only concern I do have, it's actually quite a clean surface, but the only concern I do have is it's like a felt. I don't think it's going to be a problem actually. I might get the water tested professionally. I'm going to probably do the tap water and my own water and see the difference. So I don't know if I can zoom. Oh, okay. Yeah. There we go. So that's option 2, which will be quite easy to do because basically it will just run onto this roof. You can see it here. There's the gutter there. Run onto the roof, come down with all the rest of it. Option 3 is the front of the house. I can't really do it on this side because it runs that way. The other side runs that way. You can see the amount of surface area there. Wow, that is huge. But it's difficult to maintain up there, and there's lots of moss and crap like that. But to do it's pretty straightforward. I don't know if you can see, there's a gutter over there. Basically, I'll cut a hole in the gutter, run it onto the roof, it'll go down. It's literally a 10-minute job to do that. So I've got a lot of water here that I could potentially harvest. So I'm very lucky, really. Oh, and also, actually, you probably noticed this. That takes a lot of water. But I've got an IBC, or tote, down there. It's 1,000 litres. That's a separate supply as a backup. But I'm also going to use that with a little submersible pump, or big submersible pump, for filling up paddling pools. The kids can play with it, that kind of thing. So there's quite a bit of water there, and that'll be supplied by this downspout. Very separate system. I've got some other outbuildings, but not a hell of a lot. So that's that for at the moment. The only consideration, as I've said, is keeping all this clean. A bit of dirt's not a problem, but I would rather not have moss and crap in the actual system. And I'll be filtering a lot of that out before we get there, which I'll go into next. On the basis of this, I'm going to have a big gutter here, which will take it all, and that will have filters within it, and that will be regularly cleaned, because a gutter often attracts lots of moss and standing water, which could attract nasty bacteria, algae, that kind of thing, which would not be good. I mean, you're talking serious stomach issues, potentially hospitalisation if it gets nasty, so that needs to be cleaned quite regularly. And the output to that, which I'm going to show in a minute, will have several different filters on it. I think that's all you need to know. Okay, I haven't broken my neck, so that's good. This is not the safest of ladders, and it's quite high. So I'm going to show you the actual system where I'm going to keep all the water supply, and then how I'm going to get the water from the roof into the actual supplies. So I built a little shed here, you can see. It's still work in progress, but I've got one IBC tote outside the shed because there wasn't room inside, and that will be linked up to 2 others. So you can see this. These are very, very, very cheap. They're about 40 to 60 pounds in English money. There's an outlet on each of them there, which, oh, lovely, very nicely has a valve on it. And this is food grade. You need to get food grade. So this had mustard in it at one point. So, and there's an inlet here, which is just like that. You can undo that and show you inside. It's got a lovely aluminium frame on it. It's beautiful, and they're very light actually. I don't know if you can see that. I can't see a bloody thing because it's quite sunny. Actually, I'll pull out. There we go. So yeah, so that's that. That's the IBC. And I'll show you inside my little laboratory. So this is the 2 that are inside. I could put another one in here actually, but I kind of like the idea of having one out. What I'm going to do with all three of these is, 4 of them actually, is cover them. So I'm going to get ready-made covers that can go over them. You can also paint them or put plastic around them, but it's much easier just to stick a cover on. I've got silver covers so it will reflect the sun. So then you obviously won't get algae growing in it, which you don't want, trust me, because it will just build up with crap. So these are just the same pretty much, you can see there. What I'm going to do is join them all together with some tube. It's going to be this thickness of tube, which I believe is 25mm. It's enough, and join them all together, so from there, round to there, through to that one. So they'll be self-levelling basically, so they'll all be the same level. And the one thing you do have to watch is it needs an air supply. So it needs, when it gets filled up, it doesn't fill with water and expand basically. But what I'm going to do probably is have the gutter here, and either I'm going to put it down this way, down that way, but I think I'm probably going to go inside. So it's going to go down here, and then I'm going to do like a collection chamber of some sort down the end. So it's going to run into that, and I'm probably going to do some form of mineral, run it through a mineral. But before I do that, actually, I'm going to have meshing in each and every bit. But then when it'll go in there, I'm going to have a mineral like zeolite probably, potentially even activated carbon, or ideally shungite, but that's quite expensive. I've been reading a lot about amethyst recently, being really good for water energy, but I can't afford a whole thing full of that. So that's going to be there. That will then drop either into one or all three. I kind of think having that one, and then a hole through there to that one, so they all equidistantly fill up from the top. So they've got a fresh supply of water all the time. And I think water likes to be moved, it likes to be added to, that's the way it kind of operates. So I'm going to do that, as well as having obviously a pre-filter in each of these, just a mesh basically, just put a mesh, so it keeps mozzies out and it also stops any debris. So I'm probably going to mesh that up to about 70 microns, which is quite large particles. Particles you can see, like all the dust in here for example, like that. I don't know if you can see that actually. But. So that's thing all going to go in there, it's all going to get filled up. Additional to that, I'm going to add air pumps to each one, so I'm going to have a pump with a pipe going into each one with a big air stone, so it's constantly bubbling away. Not only does that stop mozzies from, if they do get in, from what they don't like moving water, but it keeps the water moving, it keeps it not stagnant, and I think that's important personally. I don't think I've read that anywhere on any of the millions of YouTube things I've watched. So yeah, that's that. So that's pretty simple really, isn't it? How simple is that? I've got 3,000 litres, 4,000 with the other one, just like that. And it's very straightforward. And if necessary, I could add another one here, I could add one here, and I originally actually wanted to put 2 here. So I could have a huge system if I wanted to, because the water was going to get plumbed in through there. I'm changing my mind. So that's that. Okay, the next part is obviously to pump and filter the water. Now this is something I have a limited, well I wouldn't say limited, a reasonable amount of expertise in, because I've done a degree for fisheries, so I've had a lot, especially my dissertation, that was aquacultural engineering, filtration systems and stuff. So I have an interest in this, and I'm really enjoying pottering and building this system. Well, I'm going to enjoy pottering and building the system anyway. So I've literally just put all this in here. And I'm going to do another video later showing the whole lot set up and working, so hold tight for that. Right, so the water, as I said, is going to come through here. It's all going to be linked up, these 3 tanks, one outside, 2 here. I'm going to take a, oh I'm going to actually. This is going to be the big tubing, and I'm going to take a smaller tube, so it'll be 15mm, and I'm going to put a pump low level about there. It's not, and it'll be actually just underneath the water level, so if I need to drain the whole lot, it can be drained. And I'm going to show you that pump, because I actually have that. This I've been using for a couple of years now, 3 years. This is awesome, it's Seaflow, one of the best makes of pump. But this is a diaphragm pump, I think it's called, but it will operate at different levels depending on what pressure it needs. So it's quite intelligent really, and it's super powerful. I mean, I had this originally as a as plastic, and one of the things broke, it just went so so that's going to go through there. There's a little pre-filter here which is quite cool. I don't know the micron level of that. so that pre-filters it. But I'm also going to do another pre-filter, which will be a bigger version of this, probably after the pump actually, and that's called a, I can't remember what it's called, but I'm going to ideally run that at about 40 microns, and it will have like a little release button so I can release it, so it'll collect all the big bits of crap, and it's so easy to maintain. You just go psh, and you can attach a hose to it so it goes somewhere else, and then you just open it every few weeks maybe, depends how much crap's in it. So that's going to be set up on here somewhere, probably around there. I'll probably put some wood here so everything gets screwed in, and then I'm going to run, I'll only need one of them I think, run that through at the moment 2 filters, 2 big cartridge filters, and they're going to be 20 inches with cartridges in that filter the water. So it'll run, like I've got one actually, I'll show you. This isn't what I'm using actually, but it runs in, you can see, it goes through, you can see there's a cartridge here, there we go, like that, and it runs through and then it runs out. Very, very simple, very, very simple. So I'm going to run that probably at the moment at 25 microns and then to 5 microns I think, I'm not sure yet. We'll see how we get on basically. And that's it, literally. I might at some point add a activated carbon filter in there. Not sure yet. I think I'm just going to do it as that and see how we get on, because I can basically edit it as we go along. One important thing actually to mention, which I've got on my little diagram here, so you can see that, is to put in lots of valves. I've actually got loads of crap from over the years. This isn't the one I want actually, it's not as good, but so you can basically inline valve bigger so it'll fit this stuff. So you can segment stuff, so if you need to clean things you don't have to drain the whole system. Pretty obvious, isn't it really? So that's then going to run through up here. This is going to go 2 ways. It's going to go, that'll come off here basically. Oh, this is what I want, this one. These are really good. These are really, really good. Recommend them. They're expensive, but they're worth it. So that's going to go towards the house, if you can see there. That'll go towards the house. That'll go down the garden. And that'll have obviously a shut-off valve here probably. So that goes that way. Oops, sorry. That goes that way. And I'll show you roughly where in the garden that's going to go. Now this runs all the way down my garden. Now it runs on my fence. I can't actually get to it at the moment, but let's have a look. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is put, there is actually, you can see one of my water buckets there, so that's what I'm drinking out of. Yeah, I'm going to put several of these throughout the garden. It's not a big garden, but, and that's just a hose. So when you turn it on, the pump knows it, because the pressure's released, and starts pumping. So basically it will pump straight out. So if I'm watering the garden or whatever, I can do that, which is really cool. Now I'm not going to be filling up paddling pools or watering the lawn with my water, because as you can see here, there's probably, if you had a deep bath, it would take quite a lot of this. So if you're having a deep bath every day, and it doesn't rain for 3 months, that's not a good idea. So I'll show you what else I'm doing just in case. But for items when I'm doing that, I can use this basically, this system here, or just I've got a mains hose here, straight from the mains. And you can't see it, but that can go out to the garden. So yeah, so that goes that way, and then you can actually see the pipe in there. That ran to, all of this was an old irrigation system. But that's going to run through my house. It's going to run all the way to here. It'll run along there. Sorry about the state of my house. And then tap in. I think this is the water supply. I'm not sure if it's the gas or water yet, but I need to. I'm pretty sure it's the water because it goes into the dishwasher. So basically, that's water in. So I'm going to tap into that. And have a no return valve for the mains water, because you don't, the mains water, I don't want my water going to mains water. It's not only illegal, but it's not good practice. But I'm going to have a tap here that can run straight into my main system as it is at the moment, or a valve where I can change it from the stuff from outside, which is over there. Which is quite clever really. So it's one or the other with a no return valve. But the key is, I'm going to take all this out. There's going to be a pressure cylinder here. I'm not sure how big yet, probably 25 litres. That is basically going to be there. It's a great big metal drum with like kind of diaphragm, an inflatable tyre type thing in, which the pump will pressurise it, and then it will have pressure. We're pushing down the water, it will just want to go. So that's in line with the system. So every time you turn on the tap in the house, it's going to be like super pressurised. That's the plan anyway. I've never done anything with these systems, but they are very cheap, and it seems very simple to install. It's just an inline system, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how good that is. But the main takeaway from what I've just shown you is everything pretty much is outside. So if there's a leak, or especially with the actual containers, if there's a leak or you need to maintain, to unscrew the filters and clean stuff or wash stuff out, it's not going to affect, it's not going to flood my house, which is quite an important thing. So that's my main thoughts at the moment, and it's pretty straightforward, as long as you've got the plumbing in place. I'm not going to put in any sort of hardcore like welding plumbing type stuff. It's going to be the sort of plastic material, which I don't think I've got any of. Actually, it's down the end of the garden, but it's going to be, oh no, it's there. So it's going to be this basically, as you can see, which is not far off what they put in houses anyway, but basically it's a case of getting a hot air gun, softening it up, putting it on, and then putting a really decent, I'm going to get loads of decent, I think they're called Jubilee clips, to make sure they don't go anywhere, and that's it really. Yeah, to plumb off the actual main supply, I'm probably going to have to do something, not sure yet. I'm probably not allowed to touch this, right, so I'm not going to tell anyone basically. I don't give a toss if well, you know, I'm not causing any problems basically, so don't intend to. I do know what I'm doing as well. That's it really. So yeah, so I'm going to do another video at a later date and show you how I'm getting on when it's all set up and built. So thank you for watching. Adios.